Hello.
Hey.
We're in Studio B today,
Yeah.
instead of Studio A. So let's go through. Oh, last week was
Oof.
what, week 15?
Yeah.
Okay, so we had a full slate of games. Our picks were pretty bad
Yeah.
overall, like just not that good. So we'll go through them real quick. And then we'll get on to another full week of games where some teams are hanging on by a thread for playoff hopes. Some
Mm.
were out long ago, and others are jockeying for position for
Mm.
buys and whatnot. So, the bright spot, I guess, for me maybe was Thursday when I had the Rams in the field goal fest. Got that one right. And then Josh had
Oh, run of bad
the
luck.
you had what, the
I did.
Titans and the
I
Dolphins,
did.
and they both
Not
didn't
good.
didn't bring it
No.
home.
No. No. No.
I had the Jaguars for 2 stars, and they did not. So that they were in it the whole game. It was tied with a minute left. Did you see the Jets almost screwed up the clock again?
No.
They chose, instead of taking it down to like 15 seconds and kicking a field goal, they chose to score a touchdown with a minute, like 107 left. And then the Jaguars had their 2 timeouts. They had a minute. They could have gone the length of the field and scored a touchdown and gone for two and won the game. I don't know if the interim coach for the Jets just like doesn't have a clue about such things or just doesn't care. But it was crazy. If you remember,
Yeah.
Devontae Adams went out of bounds a couple weeks ago and
Mm-hmm.
ended up costing him the game against the Dolphins too.
Yep.
But whatever. I mean, they're probably like, let's just mismanage these little things so that we lose more games and get a little bit better pick. Who knows?
I don't think people in positions of hiring for the NFL, especially at the coaching level, well, I guess this is specific to the head coaching level, know how to ask head coaching candidates about game management. I don't think they, especially, I mean, certainly if you look at what the Bears did, but it's a huge issue with head coaches not knowing in those very important, very tactical situations how to make the right call, how to make the right move. It was something Belichick excelled at. I mean, that was, I think, one of the reasons he was able to get the advantage almost every time when he was in his heyday was he just understood those things better than everyone else. And it's especially with these coaches that are promoted interim, just have no clue, just no
Yeah.
clue.
And that's one of those things that I think everyone wants to like ask interview
Yeah,
questions to make sure that they get it right.
yeah,
But it's one of those things that it's not that easy to like, you have to think about it ahead of time on like, how do I kind of throw a curveball in the moment so that I get an answer that tells me that they're critically thinking about
that's it.
this. Yeah.
That's the critical thinking component is completely. My guess is like with when the Bears were interviewing Eberflus, they were probably almost exclusively focused on understanding his ability to define and run a defense. I don't think they gave a shit about what he understood as a head coach and what managing the entirety of that set of systems meant, both from a development standpoint and from a production standpoint on the field. I'm sure they were clueless. And I think that's one of the reasons why that franchise has failed again and again. And I'm sure most teams are deficient in it. The ones that are bad year after year, I'm sure of it. That has to be one of the problems. They just don't know what to ask during an interview.
Right. Yeah, for sure. So that was that. Anyway,
Yeah.
so of course the Jaguars are still the Jaguars, and they did not. They made it to like almost midfield, and then Mac Jones just threw it to the other. He just threw it to the Jets, and then it was over. But
Womp womp.
um, it had a chance. It had a good chance for a long time, and it just didn't
Didn't,
happen.
didn't pan
Um,
out.
if if the Jets kicked the field goal there, like every other team would have, or most other teams, whatever. But that's the beauty of the NFL, like
True.
the 3.5 or the 3 or the 4 or the 6 or the 7, it can jump around a lot. Anyway, I did get the Broncos right. I'll
Yeah.
admit I did get a little lucky, even though they ended up covering by a lot. This was the whole Jonathan Taylor dropped the ball before he went over the goal line thing. Would have put the Colts up by 2 touchdowns early in the third quarter. Instead, it's a touchback, and the Broncos scored a lot of points after that. Just crazy to think that Jonathan Taylor dropping the ball on the goal line for no reason basically took the Colts from having probably a 30-40% chance of getting in to like uh life support, like a 5% chance at this point. I think they have to win out and have a bunch of things happen.
Yep.
But so got a little bit lucky on that one, but got that one right. The Patriots and Cardinals, that was my lone 3-star of the week, and it did not materialize. Again, I'll call this excuses if you want, but the Patriots had a 3rd and 1 from the 4 and ran it twice and couldn't get the first down. So turned it over, didn't get any points. They also May threw a kind of a crosser over the middle at midfield, and his receiver like had it and then just popped it up into the defense's hands. So they end up losing by 13, and there was 2 drives, one that should have been at least 3, if not 7, if you can just get a yard, and then the other one just pop like good pass, and the receiver just decided to pop it to the other team. So I don't know. I feel like they could have definitely covered the 6, but they didn't. So moving on, I had the Bills against the Lions. The Bills hit the Lions in the mouth and just kept scoring all game to the point where the Lions kicked an onside kick with like 10 minutes left because they're just like, we're not going to stop them. We might as well
Try. Yeah.
So that was
Dan Campbell.
That's I don't know. I think it definitely knocked the Lions down a peg, considering it was in Detroit, and a lot of people were thinking the Lions were the bet, like the favorite to win it all.
They're like, I'd say you're like that 7 of their 11 defensive starters are on IR or something like that, or like not available to them right now. That defense, unfortunately, has sort of fallen apart due to injury, and they're just not the same team. Just not.
Yeah. And then, like whether it's warranted or not, like you're going to hear, okay, Dan Campbell's physical style, is he going a little bit too much because people are getting hurt, or is it just dumb luck? I don't know. It's probably a little of both, but at what point do you say we got to be a really physical team, but then scale it back a little bit? It's kind of a hard thing to do. So, but definitely interesting. It seems like, well, they pride themselves on being one of the most physical teams.
Yeah.
And they've had the most injuries, give or take,
defensively.
Yeah. So we'll see how that plays out. I mean, they've got a couple guys done for the year too. So, I mean, you can only handle such things so long before, the second and third stringers just aren't good enough to do it. But with their offense, like they can score with anyone, they can be in any game. So be interesting to see how the next few weeks play out with those guys done for the year.
They can hold on to because it's all it's not tied. I think they're still in the first place, but 12-2, 3-12-2 teams sitting at the top of the NFC. That's crazy.
Yeah. So Vikings play the Lions the last game of the year, which could have some ramifications, but I mean, with 3 games left, a lot's going to happen. So, you can overanalyze it too early, but Eagles, Lions, Vikings, the Vikings need the most help. They don't have the tiebreakers against those 2 teams at this point.
Yeah.
A lot of people are starting to think the Eagles are going to get the bye, but we'll see we'll see what happens. Good, dude. I got the Steelers wrong. They kind of weren't really in it. No. That was not the greatest pick. That was a 1-star. I got that wrong.
That's a fine pick, dude. Like the Eagles, I just think everybody undersold the Eagles a little bit. I mean, people were ready to fire the coach in like week 5. And now they're like, I think a lot of people are shifting focus to them winning the NFC, given where the Lions are at. So
yeah,
not a bad pick.
I mean, they've been covering against everyone they've had to play. The Steelers is maybe the best team they've played this year, depending on how you look at it.
I think that's right.
So of the double-digit win teams, they are the only ones the Eagles have had to play, I believe, to this point. So the Eagles have not had to play the Bills, Lions, Vikings, or Chiefs. So you could say, I mean, the Eagles look like the best team. You could also say, well, they haven't played the best teams either. Well, obviously, we're obviously going to find out because they're going to make the playoffs and they're probably going to make a little run. So they're going to have to run into some of those teams sooner or later. But they do look good. Good defense, balanced offense.
I don't think they're going to lose another game. Next, Commanders, Cowboys, Giants. That's how the Eagles are going to close the season.
Yeah, at Washington is probably obviously the toughest one. The other
Yes.
two are at home, but
I don't know. They
yeah,
look
I mean,
really good.
if as
Set
a
up.
Vikings fan, obviously this is the week where I need a Eagles loss to kind of
Yeah.
have a chance at that at the one seed, or even I guess more important really is probably winning the division. So I would
Yes.
really need the Lions to drop down so that the Vikings can at least host one playoff game, and then you never really know what happens. Like if the top seed loses week 2 or whatever, you might get another home game. But whatever. Again, that's month down the road. Um, Josh got his 3-star Vikings pummel his team,
Disaster.
and very handily. They were up 13-0 at half and never really looked like they weren't going to cover the 7. So he nailed that. And
Bears
then,
on a football team, dude.
yeah, and then the Raiders Falcons was like the most boring game ever. And the Falcons win by 6, I think it ended up. I don't know what to think. The Falcons are pretenders and the Raiders are just really bad, especially like Ritter just isn't good at football.
Nope.
But apparently the Falcons don't think Cousins is good at football because I'm pretty sure he got benched.
He did. He's done.
So we'll see what we think about that with their matchup coming up, whether we think that was a good time to do it or not. But overall, I was 3-4 and Josh was 1-3, just not good. We'll turn the page to the next week.
Ignore it completely.
All right.
Let's do this.
So 16 games again. Tonight we have the Broncos at the Chargers divisional game.
Yes.
Both teams obviously aren't going to win the NFC West or the AFC West because the Chiefs are way ahead. But if the Broncos, I could be wrong on this. If the Broncos win, I believe they clinch a playoff spot. If the Chargers win, they'll have like a 80% chance of making it or something like that. I think the Chargers' schedule down the stretch is a little bit easier too. So huge game tonight as far as getting in the playoffs basically. So you got the Broncos who have won probably, I don't know, it feels like they've won 4 or 5 in a row.
They've won 4 in a row.
And then you have what was the number one scoring defense in the Chargers and up until last week, and then the Bucks put 40 on them. So very curious to see how the Chargers defense responds to that. The defensive coordinator was being asked some pointed questions about the effort. I think it was more of just an outlier. I think they're still really good. Like Baker, this is crazy. Like a year ago or a year and a half ago, I wouldn't have been saying this, but Baker, I feel like Baker could put 40 on anyone in a given night if he's like on fire. And he can also throw 100 interceptions and stink, but
loves an interception. But he can do both. Like he can score 40 and throw 3 interceptions.
Yeah, that's
like
true.
In the same game. It's like he is. I'd be very interested to see his numbers compared to Winston's because they're both a set of dudes who like to throw interceptions along with a ton of touchdowns.
But he also has kind of the clutch gene where Jameis.
He does seem to have it in the moments where he needs to tighten it up. He seems to be able to where Jameis can't. But
yeah, so Broncos, Chargers, I guess needed a little bit more. And they need to see something out of their defense after a horrible effort at home.
Yeah,
you just feel like I just feel like they're going to get it right. Like with Harbaugh not dealing with that, it is a short week. It's a little bit tougher to make adjustments, but I just think the Chargers defense will play well. I don't know though, let's just get to the line.
Yep.
I guessed Chargers by 3.
So did I. Yeah, we're the same here.
We both said Chargers 3.
Yes.
And I don't know. What is it here?
It's 2.5 or 3.
Yeah, let's do... I'm going to do some rearranging in Studio B here so that we can see things a little bit better. It opened at 3 and it's mostly 2.5. So there's some love for the Broncos, which I don't like that a ton, but... I think some of that is the Broncos have looked good. The Chargers have looked a little Jekyll and Hyde. I'm gonna go. I like the Chargers. It dipped below 3. I like that. I think it's worth it.
Broncos with a little better record right now.
I'm gonna go Chargers -2.5.
And they did lose to the Chargers earlier in the season, though, the Broncos. So this is a revenge game.
Got it. I'm gonna go 1 star Chargers.
Chargers.
Um, yeah. So another. I think last week. Yeah, last week. Well, it was supposed to be. Well, it was a good game, I guess.
Yeah.
There just wasn't any touchdowns scored in the Rams Niners. So this one again, divisional game where both
Playoff
teams
teams.
are probably going to make the playoffs. If either one of these teams goes on a losing streak here, they definitely could be left out. But both teams should make it. A little more on the line for the Chargers. I think their defense bounces back. I think they play well, and I think they win by more than 2.5. So that's what I got.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'm gonna stay away from this game. These feel like two very evenly matched teams.
All right.
I will not
Let's
touch it.
move on. We got the Texans at the Chiefs. So Mahomes had a high ankle sprain. He did not finish the game. He said if it were a playoff game, he would have finished the game. So Carson Wentz came in and managed a little bit, and they ended up winning, kind of coasting and winning the game. I heard he is practicing this week, so I have a feeling he's going to play. And if you remember, was it last year? I think it was 2 years ago. He had that ankle injury in the playoffs, and he kind of like it looked pretty bad, but he played through it, and he was plenty good enough to do what he needed to do
Yep.
and just kind of managed it well. This feels like the same situation. So let's just get to the line. So Texans at Chiefs. I said Chiefs by 1.5.
So I went Texans by 3, and the line opened Texans -2. So that must have been he's got to be playing. I don't mean Mahomes has to be playing. I don't see this being a Chiefs line
Right.
if he's not playing.
So yeah, it did open Texans 2, and it's over to
Right.
Chiefs 3.5.
And I have Texans by 3.
All right, so let's go back here. So we obviously tie the first one. This one I
You
get
got
it.
Yep.
Yeah, so definitely makes a lot of sense. Like, opened at Texans by 2 because everyone thought his injury was bad enough where he wouldn't play.
Yeah.
And now he's practicing, he's probably going to play. So it jumps, makes a lot of sense. And so my guess, when I guessed this, I middled that. I was like, okay, if he doesn't play, it's probably Texans by a couple.
Yep.
If he does play, it's probably Chiefs by about what it is. I think I was thinking more like 4. Texans 2 if he doesn't, Chiefs 4, and then I kind of just went in the middle of that. And obviously looks like he's gonna play. So
Feels like it.
Chiefs 3.5. I don't know. You got the team that doesn't blow anyone out with a quarterback who's got sort of a bum ankle, and you got the team that you never know what they're gonna do week to week in the Texans.
Feels like a bit of a pretender more than they did early in the season. I mean, you had people, I think, feeling maybe the Texans were going to take a run, that CJ Stroud would ascend this year, and it just hasn't. They've not been bad. They're going to win that division. They've been leading the division pretty much the whole season. I think the whole season.
Yeah.
Got 9 wins, but I don't know. Does anybody feel like the Texans are winning the Super Bowl or even making it to the Super Bowl this year? I don't think so.
No, I mean, if they get consistent and start beating really good teams for like a month straight, like everyone's going to be confused. I think the only thing I would say if you're a Texans fan is like, like Stroud has the talent, like
Yeah.
Ryan's being a defensive coach, like their defense has looked really good
Yeah.
at times if they can put it all together. But yeah, I don't see it happening. And
Yeah.
I also don't have a clue on this game. I think it's a very fair line.
Yeah.
I expect the game to be tied and Butker kicking a field goal to win by
Or the-
3. Or the Chiefs are up 4 and the Texans are trying to score a touchdown to win at
Yeah.
the end.
This feels like another Chiefs, like 1917 victory, somewhere around there. I don't know who's going to win this game. I'd rather put money on like that neither team scores more than 20 points, right? So I would take the over-under is 40. I'd take the under.
Yeah, Mahomes handing it off and
Yeah.
the Chiefs defense playing well. I don't know. But
That's not Phil.
should be competitive, could be worth
Yep.
watching. And this is so there's 2 Saturday games this week. This is one of the
Yeah.
Saturday games. And someone told me that these 4 Saturday teams then flip flop and play the other opponent on next Wednesday. There's Christmas.
Oh, that
games.
Christmas game. Well, the Chiefs are definitely playing on Christmas.
So that they have a little bit extra rest. So they're doing Saturday, Wednesday. So I think it's Chiefs. Must be Chiefs Steelers on Christmas and Texans Ravens.
Yep, that's it. That's it exactly.
All right. So
Also good games. I mean, those are good games.
yeah, these are 4 playoff teams. So
Yeah.
that's kind of cool that they got that
Yep.
right. I don't know if they flexed this recently or how they did this, but
I think the Chiefs were always playing on Christmas.
were they?
I
Okay.
think so because that was the big because these are on Amazon or excuse me, these are on Netflix.
That's right.
The
Yeah.
Christmas games are on Netflix, so
Yeah.
you're not selling the Chicago Bears to Netflix on Christmas.
Got the AFC playoff teams on the Netflix on the Christmas.
Yeah,
So get your eggnog.
your nags.
Okay. So we got too many games to be talking about eggnog.
Yeah, true.
Ah.
Eggnog is good.
We got the Steelers at the Ravens.
Yeah.
Little divisional matchup there between playoff teams. I said Ravens by 4.5 or by 4.
I've got the Ravens giving 3. It's 6.5.
Okay.
I don't like this line at all. In fact, I like it so little. I will take the Steelers as a 1-star pick here.
All right. I get that guess, and Josh is going Steelers for 1.
Yeah.
This happens 100 times a year. You've got a divisional game where you feel like it should be a close,
Yep.
and then the line is weirdly high to both of us.
Yep.
Last week, remember we were talking about the Ravens Giants. It was 16.5, and the Ravens had no trouble covering that.
Oh.
This one seems weirdly high.
Yep.
Like this has to just be that the metrics say that Baltimore is a lot better than their record and what they've maybe shown, and it's just getting juiced up. It's probably fair. It's weird to both of us that it's high. I don't know.
And they played each other this season, and the Steelers won, and it was 18-16.
Yeah. If I remember right, it was a weird game. Like
Yes.
they kind of shouldn't have won. And then, so they were at I think the Steelers were at midfield at the end, and they tried to draw them off sides, and they actually got them off sides, and then they just kneeled down. I think that was the game. But even before that, like, I think the Ravens controlled most of the game, and the Steelers kind of pulled it out. I'd have to look back.
And they only scored 6. It's just weird. And I think to your point about the drawing the Ravens offside, are the Ravens like the most penalized team or one of the most penalized teams in the league this year?
They were at one point.
That's
yeah.
weird. You think about Harbaugh, you think about discipline. And that is like the number one thing that shows a non-disciplined team is penalties.
Right.
And they're not. So that's another reason why this line is weird to me, that it's this big. They've dominated. They've handled bad teams, but I still don't think that's Pittsburgh.
Yeah. I don't. The one thing I say this a lot too is, so this is 9-5 versus 10-4, right?
Yes, it is. So this, I think, could flip the division, right?
Yeah. So if Baltimore wants to win the division, they
Yeah.
need to win this home game against Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So like I talk about the juice, like Pittsburgh a little snake bit losing to the Eagles. They got
Yeah.
2 road games in a row. Baltimore feels like they're the top dog, like the alpha, and they aren't leading the division. So I don't know. Like if you question motivation in any way, the Ravens are going to have no lack of it.
Yeah.
So that also makes sense why it's a little higher. Like the Ravens need it more. Can they win by a touchdown at home? I guess. But I'm torn. It could go either way for
It
me.
just feels like like a game is decided by less than a field goal.
Yeah, and it used to be so like Roethlisberger, Flacco.
Yeah.
There was something like 90% of their matchups for like a so many year span.
Yeah.
It was like a field goal either way.
Yep.
So this game was always
Close.
-3 to the home
Yeah.
team, and it like came down to the wire.
This just seems like an absurd number. Unless, like, I don't know, is Wilson injured? Like, I don't know. It's
I
weird.
don't think so. Fields actually was banged up He comes in for like 2 plays a game, and he's always got these injuries. But
That's how they use him. I mean, he's essentially like a glorified running back in that system.
yeah,
But
go down
that's-
hard and hit your head so we get 15. All right.
All right,
So Josh has the Steelers for
I do.
1.
I do.
Now we got the Giants at the Falcons.
Ay, ay, ay.
I said Falcons by 13.
I went Falcons by 5. It's be interesting to see how this line moved because considering the Penix starting came out, was it yesterday or was that this morning?
Right. So it opened at 10 and it's down to
8.5.
8.5. So you're off 3.5 and I'm off 4.5. So you get that one.
Barely.
Come on. Falcons minus 8.5. Josh gets that one. I'm up 2-1 with one tie. So, oh, what a weird game. So the Falcons' last 3 games are relatively easy, and they're going to
Yeah.
choose now. Like they could make the playoffs still.
Yep.
But they're going to choose now to put Penix in.
Giants are terrible though.
Right. They are also an NFL defense who a lot of
Yeah.
times play bend don't break, and
Fair.
Penix is a rookie.
Yeah.
And usually when rookies play their first game against an NFL defense, even if it's the Giants, they don't do so hot.
Yeah.
Like if Penix comes out and has like a super good game, doesn't throw any picks, and just like looks great, I'm gonna be very surprised. No, I get it. It is the Giants. Like
They haven't won a game since October.
yeah,
October 6th.
and they just got blown out at home against the Ravens. Although
Stomped.
if a good team's gonna blow out a bad team, it's usually gonna be like the Ravens blowing out a bad team because
Yep.
they have so much firepower. I mean, Lamar Jackson's like the second favorite to win the
Yep.
MVP behind Josh Allen.
Yeah.
I'm going Giants here. A rookie quarterback. It's just like that's just too much. And like, what are the Falcons thinking? Like, do you really think like? Do they think he can come in here and win these last 3 games, make the playoffs, and like take them on a run?
It's a weird. They won the game too. It's not like they. I mean,
Yeah.
Cousins hasn't played well, but
You can't do this at this point. Like, I think it's a really stupid decision. I like the Giants a little bit. I'm gonna go
stay away from this one.
Giants for 2.
I mean, it's a big spread. My guess is it has to come down even further before the game kicks off.
Yeah, I just think there's a much better chance than not that Penix makes some mistakes. Maybe they win the game, but maybe it's closer than people think.
Maybe.
And like people might say the Giants are sort of tanking or they should be tanking.
Yeah.
Neighbors has been questionable and keeps playing and keeps getting a lot of targets and is playing hard. Like if they were tanking, I think you'd see Neighbors kind of maybe be managed a little bit more, and they're not. He's playing. Like so I don't know that there's really a lot to that. Yeah, I just think this game could be close. And I mean,
Definitely close
like-
for sure.
Cousins hasn't played well, but they beat the Raiders by 6. So now a rookie quarterback's going to come in and beat an equally maybe bad team by 10. I'm just not buying it.
Nope.
All right. Divisional game. The Bengals are on life support, so they need to keep winning.
Yep.
They host the Browns. I said, well, I'm kind of jumping around a little bit, but that's all right. I said Bengals by 6.5.
The Bengals by 4.
I'm gonna lose this one. Because it's Bengals by 7.5. It's
We'll
going
put
up
that
a
7
tick.
and it's going up.
Yeah.
So the Bengals lines, it doesn't matter. It doesn't seem to matter whether they cover or don't. They just keep getting these high lines for some reason.
They're the best quarterback in football right now, I think statistically still, even though they can't win a game.
Yeah. So 7.5. I'm just gonna
Seems high.
tell you right away that. Did Winston get benched or did he get hurt? He didn't finish the game. I wonder who's
think I-
playing quarterback for the Browns.
I hadn't heard that they're starting anybody else.
I want to say there's a chance that Thompson Robinson is starting. But
That may be.
so I have no opinion on this game, but it is interesting. The Bengals have a chance to make the playoffs, a very slim chance, but what they need is, I could be wrong on this, but I think I'm right. So The Broncos have 9 wins, and the Chargers have 8 wins. So the Bengals don't have the tiebreaker against the Chargers, but the Bengals play the Broncos next week, I think. So if the Bengals can keep the Broncos at 9 wins, so they would need the Broncos to lose out,
Yep.
including beating them, or if the Chargers lose out and the Bengals win out, they could take that spot. The Chargers Broncos play each other this week, so
Yep.
no matter what happens, if the Bengals win this week, they will still be mathematically alive because the Chargers or Broncos have to lose. So I don't know what that means. Obviously, their chances of making it are probably less than 5% still, but
I mean, do you think 9-8 makes the playoffs in the AFC? Because that's the best they can do.
I don't.
I don't either.
It
I really don't.
Yeah, I mean the chances are very slim, but well, the Bengals' chances are better than the 49ers. The 49ers need there's always one of these ridiculous scenarios. I was just looking at this. 49ers need like 8 things to happen, and one of those things is the Rams and Seahawks tying in week 18 or something
Yeah.
like that, which is never
Yeah.
gonna happen because if they tied, then I think the Niners would get that spot, and neither of the other two teams would get that spot.
So I mean, Broncos. You think the Broncos can lose 3 in a row? Chargers, Bengals, Chiefs.
That's a good point. They absolutely.
I mean, I feel like those are
Could.
teams that can beat them.
Well, I do think they're going to lose to the Chargers. I do
Yeah, that's
think they're
right.
going to lose to the Bengals, and I do think they're going to lose to the Chiefs. But they had Chiefs at home. They had the Chiefs on the
Yeah,
road. So
yeah.
like,
Yeah,
I-
fascinating finish. I mean, maybe it is possible. Maybe the Bengals, because those look like 3 losable games for the Broncos, and I like the Broncos this season. They've beaten some good teams. They've been surprising. Their quarterback as a rookie hasn't sucked and has shown progress and development. They're gonna have
Yeah.
a very interesting end of the season. Very interesting.
yeah. So I don't know. Do you have anything more to say about this
No.
Browns
No,
Bengals divisional game? It's higher than we thought. Seems a
much
little
higher.
high, but
Yes, it does.
the Bengals finally, like the Bengals defense is finally playing decent. Like even like they're even fantasy relevant lately. Like they've scored quite a few points the last couple of weeks, but I think the Bengals needed to have one more win at this point to really have a chance. They kind of screwed themselves multiple times with these close losses. They lost to the Ravens twice by a total of like 4 points or something like that. They had the Chargers.
It's been a really hellish season for them.
Yeah.
Really.
And that Chargers loss, missing 2 field goals towards the end. I mean, you talk about like tiebreakers and
Yeah.
whatnot. Like if they had the tiebreaker over the Chargers right now, it would be a lot
Different story.
different story. All right, so let's go. Let's do Lions at the Bears, the rematch of the Floofist.
Floofist.
I have Lions by 7.
I have the Lions giving 9.5.
Ooh, you go high against your team, huh?
Yeah, because my team's not very good.
They're still a team. They're still a good NFL team.
Are they? I don't think so.
That was a joke.
Oh man.
Why is this line? This line is so low. Just because the defense is banged up.
So it is Lions 6.5. So I get that one.
Do
This is another one of those that is such a. I don't know.
It
Like
feels low.
it's hard to know what we're looking at here. The Lions have all these injuries.
yes.
So the Bears played the Lions tough in Detroit, although
They
they
did.
kind of like came from way behind and almost just kind of
That's
stole
right.
it.
That's right.
But you got Eberflus gone, and the defense has played really bad since he's been gone. It's just
It's
there's
not
a
good.
lot of variables here. I don't know what to think. Like, I do think that like the Lions have to win this game by a touchdown. The Bears are just kind of discombobulated, and
They're just. I mean, they are like a snake with its head cut off. They have no. Not that they had good leadership before, but now you're putting all of this on a guy who was like 4 steps removed from the head coaching position 5 weeks ago, and now you're. I just don't see it. I mean, as bad as the Lions' injuries have been, mostly to the defense, the Bears' offense sucks. It's rudderless. And Caleb just, I don't know, man. I just, it's a lot to ask for a rookie to figure out all the chaos of the entire organization by himself, pretty much. And I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I hate these road favorites, but like if you have to, I don't know how you don't pick the Lions.
touchdown.
Although the Lions should have covered last time against the Bears, and then
They
they
should've.
lost the game. Like there's just a lot of ways to cover a plus almost touchdown. No opinion, no final opinion on that.
I mean, go ahead and give me the Lions. I'll take the Lions for
Ooh,
two.
he's gonna fade the Bears for his
Yeah.
wins now. All right, I like it. How many?
Two.
Two banging
Yeah.
Lions. Yeah,
It's just a
that's
putty.
the wrong spot. Okay, got it. Let's move on. Let's do the
Panthers.
Cardinals at the Panthers. I said Cardinals by 2.5.
I've got to give him 3.5.
You get it. You get it.
3. Sorry, not 3.5. Apologies. There's no hook on that.
You
there,
still get it. I
Really?
think.
Is it 3?
I think it's 4, or it was.
4.5.
Jeez.
4.5.
Open at 3.5. It's up to 4.5 or 5 some places. Crazy stuff, you know. Josh gets that one.
I do.
4-2 me. Okay. So the Cardinals beat the Patriots last
Mhm.
week, but they had been playing bad for a
Yep.
while. The Panthers were favored for the first time in like 2 years, almost 2 years, and got dismantled at
Yeah.
home by the Cowboys. So now the Panthers are playing underdog again.
Yep.
This one's a little weird to me too. Obviously, I said 2.5, and it's 4.5. Are the Panthers not gonna? I mean, the Cardinals aren't the undefeated Patriots from 10, 15 years ago, are they? Like, why is it more than a field goal? They're not. Like the Panthers have played
That's weird. Yep.
most games tough. I don't know. I don't understand this.
I don't either.
I don't trust the Cardinals to.
Nope.
Well, I mean, winning by 5 wouldn't be a blowout, but I don't trust the Cardinals to do that. I'm going Panthers 1 star. I just feel like they can keep it close at home.
Yeah. I like that pick. I like it a lot. I like the Panthers to cover here too. The Cardinals have been so up and down. They took hold of the division, and everyone was like, "Oh, here come the Cardinals!" And then promptly lost 3 straight. Two of them to the Seahawks.
Yeah.
And then they're probably not going to make the playoffs now. It's just like they were at the cusp of something, just couldn't maintain it. I know they beat the Patriots, but nah, I like the Carolina here as well.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe this is higher because like they know the Cardinals need to basically win out because
Yeah.
the NFC West, like the Seahawks or the Rams, one of those teams is probably getting to 9 or 10 wins. So, but needing it and getting it isn't always equivalent.
Yep.
The Panthers, I feel like are definitely going to want to try to play spoiler. I think they can keep it close. Last week at home, like I don't know if you catch any wind. Oh, we're favored. Like oh, teams like oh, maybe we are playing good, and then you kind of just like have a dud because you, I don't know, lose focus a little bit. I don't know if that was at play, but I think they had been embracing the underdog mentality well before last week, and they're an underdog again, and it's more than 4. I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
All right. Rams, Jets. Rams at the Jets. Rams by 3 is what I said.
I went Jets by 1.5, even 1.5.
Okay. Pretty sure it's Rams 3.5, maybe 3.
Right
Roughly
on.
3. Okay, so I got it. I think I'm gonna go quickly over this one. So usually when I guess it, it's kind of hard to have an opinion. The Jets, you don't know from week to week if they're gonna give a really good team a run or get blown out. Obviously, if they play well, they can play with most teams, but they just have shown that they don't
Nope.
want to win a close game or don't want to win, period. So you have a road favorite of 3. I think it's fair. I don't like, obviously, I feel like the Rams' talent and coaching is gonna be able to win this game on the road. I just don't know if it's gonna be close or not.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I was just too stuck on the whole East Coast, West Coast travel nonsense, but I just thought the Jets favored here a little bit coming off a win against a bad team. I know that the LA has, I mean, absent that game against the Niners, which they won and they couldn't score a touchdown, they've looked pretty good, but I don't know. This feels like a weird one to me.
Yeah. So if the Rams get in, like
Yeah.
I don't think these NFC teams want to play the Rams.
Nope.
Now, they're not going to be like shying away from it or anything, but like I don't think if you're hosting a playoff game, I guess the Rams would host a playoff game if they win out because they're going to
Yep.
win the West. But
Yep.
round two, I don't know that you really want to have the Rams coming in because it just feels like they can with Stafford and McVay and like they could upset you.
Yeah, they can put points on the board, no doubt.
All right, I think the Rams win. I don't know if it's by more than 3. So let's keep going. We'll
Yeah.
go the Philadelphia Eagles at the Washington Commanders. I said Eagles 3.5.
I went Eagles by 3. It's 3.5 dead out.
Ooh. Open at 3.5, and it is 3.5.
It is.
So 3. So these half lines are kind of tough to get right, but it just like the Commanders are a very solid team. They're at home. Like you can't go crazy with like it's not a touchdown, right? It's not
Nope.
6. But the way Philadelphia's been playing, I just didn't think you could go 3. So I kind of wanted somewhere in between 3 and 6. Went 3.5. So I think it's fair. The first game in Philly, Commanders were in it until halftime or maybe
Yep.
halfway through the third quarter, and then I forget. I think the Commanders went for it on 4th down, didn't get it, and then Philly scored like 2 touchdowns in a row, and it ended up blowing them out, if I remember right. But it was a close game for quite a while. I don't know. Commanders have been a little inconsistent lately. I don't know.
I mean, they're 3 or 2 and 3 in their last 5.
Yeah. So I have no opinion. Like I said, it's obviously a fair line in my opinion because I guessed it, and that's all I got for that one.
Yeah, I think I like Philly here. I think I like Philly to win out. I think they just feel like the best team in the NFC right now.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I don't like I kind of want the Vikings to play them in the playoffs.
Philly or
Not-
the Commanders?
Philly, not
Yeah.
because the Vikings haven't done very well against Philly since Hurts has taken over.
Yeah.
So not from that aspect, but it would feel so good to beat the Eagles in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But again, that's a tall task too. They look like they definitely are one of the best teams in the league.
Yep.
I just more of like a payback or like finally getting the Eagles would be nice, but they wouldn't play them. I don't think no matter how it shakes out, they wouldn't play them the first round in any way.
Yeah.
So it'd be later in the playoffs, so they make it that far, but that's a long ways away. So no opinion on this one. Let's move on. We got the
Colts and Titans.
Titans at the Colts. I said Colts by 6.
Colts by 4.5.
You win.
We do.
Where is
Barely.
it? 4.5. It went down to 3.5.
Yes.
What's going on?
People loving them Titans. They benched Will Levis. Maybe that's what people like so much.
Yeah. Okay. Josh gets this one. And I got that. Okay, so I'm up 6-3. Okay. This is quite a bit lower than I thought. Levis, is he definitely not playing? I can't
I
imagine
think
he is.
he's starting it. They came out and said they're starting Rudolph.
Okay.
Whether or not he plays at some
Ooh.
point during the game, I don't know.
Rudolph, the week of Christmas.
Oh, there it is. That's why they're doing it.
Titans all the way.
Yeah. So I'm gonna pretend like that's the reason why I like the Titans here, but it's really not. So Rudolph doesn't make as many mistakes.
Yeah.
It's a divisional game. The Colts,
Yep.
kind of like I could see the locker room being a little bit tense after the Taylor fumble. Man, the Titans are bad, but
Yep.
I think it makes sense. It's lower than I thought. It's still more than a field goal. Like if this game is close, it's a good pick. I am going with the trash Titans
Oh, wow. Okay.
plus 3.5, and it is a 3 banger. And I've been not so good. I think my 3 stars are only. I'm only like 10-9 now. I was like way above
We'll
500
bump it
for
down to a
while.
2 and maybe you'll
Yeah,
odds, right?
yeah. Get superstitious with it. All right, or not Colt. So I'm even
Titans.
typing the wrong name. That's not good. Okay, I'm going Titans 3 stars. Rudolph hasn't played in a while. The Colts might be a little bit like, what just happened? Sometimes,
I feel like there's a good team in there somewhere for the Colts.
yeah.
the
Sometimes this
Titans.
can snowball and just get
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
But they could also rebound and just take care of a bad team at home. It just feels weird that it's that low.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's a strange. A lot of these lines feel strange. I think the Colts are clearly the better team. I just feel like there's all kinds of issues now. You know, if Vrabel was coaching this Titans team, I feel like they'd be better. I mean, or they would have benched Levis sooner. I don't know. And maybe that was one of the reasons he's not there is they couldn't come to an alignment on what they wanted to do with quarterback. Maybe the leadership wanted to continue with Levis, and maybe Vrabel was like, "F that guy, he can't play."
Yeah,
I don't know, but
be interesting to see in the offseason if someone else takes on Levis. I think he's probably a backup at this point, but he
Yep.
is still. I mean, he's got to be only like what 25 years old.
well, that's the thing. Does he have something like a sort of like a Ryan Tannehill resurrection somewhere else, or a Sam Darnold resurrection somewhere else? We've got a guy with potential and talent that never realizes it in his first stop because the organization wasn't prepared or capable to do it. If he lands somewhere where some sort of transformation happens, and we've seen it a few times, especially recently, last 5 or 6 years, where we've seen quarterbacks resurrect their careers somewhere else. Is there potential for Levis? I don't know. Probably not on the Titans though.
Right. They always talk about fit. Like,
Yeah.
we'll see. I could see a team thinking like they really like his skill set and they can fix
Big
what's
arm.
broken with
Yep.
him,
Yep.
and like saying like we can do a Darnold situation with him. Although I mean he hasn't had as much success as Darnold had initially, but same sort of scenario. You could see someone saying I definitely can fix him. I know
Yep.
what's wrong.
Yep.
We'll see. But that's enough about the sneaky Titans. Well,
Tinky Tinky.
let's move. The Vikings
Oh man.
in the Pacific Northwest against the Seahawks. I said Vikings by 4.5.
I went Hawks, giving 2.5.
Whoa,
Yeah.
you crazy.
I guess. I mean, it's a home
in
team.
between, but I think I'm closer. It's okay. It's exactly 3.
Yeah.
I guess that's fair. Vikings minus
I
3.
mean, after the Seahawks kind of got demolished by the Packers, I get it. But
Yeah. So
no Seahawks love. Come on.
Geno Smith did not finish the last game. He had a knee injury, but he's practicing, so he's fine apparently.
Yep. Fine enough
Um,
to play.
Walker and Charbonnet are both questionable. Neither one of them has practiced this week, which is kind of wild.
Yeah.
Because they both have been banged up a little bit this year, but usually one of them is able to
Mhm.
play. So Charbonnet's an oblique and Walker is a calf. I don't know. I think there's a decent chance that neither one of them plays. And I'm trying to think some McIntosh guy is their third stringer. I don't know. Like that McIntosh has done okay when he's been the backup to Charbonnet the last couple weeks, but definitely something to look at. I don't know. This is another one of those where I feel like the Vikings can win a game. I don't know. It might be close. It might not be close. Obviously, sort of a tough environment to go play. I don't know. No opinion.
I mean, if the Seahawks injuries bear out, right, none of those guys are end up playing, then this is a clear Vikings victory. The line would be much higher, I think, if those injuries were not just questionable, but if those 3 guys were on AR, this would be a big deal, a bigger line. I think 3 kind of makes sense. I don't know. I just something about the Seahawks team. They came on, they won those 2 games against the Cardinals. They needed to win, take the division. Now they're not because the Rams are looking in it. So
Definitely,
topsy turvy.
it's definitely feels like a must win for the Seahawks.
It has to be.
Like,
Has to be.
if you lose this game and the Rams win,
Yeah.
you're sort of on life support.
Yeah.
Um,
They don't think they have a chance.
They have to play the Rams again, but I would assume the Rams already beat them once. It's you
Yep.
know, like their chances go way down if they
Yep.
lose this game. And if you win, even if the Rams keep winning, you keep yourself in that wild card mix too at 9-6. So
And definitely
huge
a win for them.
playoff implications, and the Vikings
sides.
need to keep winning if they
Yep.
want to try to get a
Base.
first round bye or win the division and have a home game.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I should have an opinion on that. I guess it's lower than I thought. So maybe the Seahawks can cover 3.
And
I don't know. Not going to talk myself
Yeah.
into anything.
I'm stay away from that one.
Okay, Patriots at the Bills, the
Oof.
divisional matchup. We got Tom Brady against Josh Allen. No,
Oh, wait a minute. No, it's Drew Lock.
what?
Drew Lock,
Got
right?
traded
No,
to the
Drew Lock.
Patriots?
No, Drew McGarry. No,
Drake May?
him too.
Okay, I said Bills by 13. I
gotta get Bills getting 10.
think it's a full 14.
it? That feels right.
I didn't think they'd go quite that
Yeah,
high
they
with the
did.
division game. It's 14. Whoa.
Yeah, just I don't know. Josh Allen's gonna have like 10 rushing touchdowns. I feel like.
So I win the
there.
league
You do.
8-3. There's 4
Yeah.
left. Okay, I kind of wanted to go 14 because that's like the standard, like
Mhm.
good team at home against bad team on the road. But I just thought, divisional game they'd go a tick below,
That's
but
what I
no.
maybe the Patriots had won last week, but they did not.
Yeah. So the Bills obviously just won at Detroit, so they feel like they can beat. I mean, you've beaten the Chiefs, you've beaten the Lions. A lot of people would say those are definitely 2 of the top
Yep.
3 or 4 teams in the league. So you got to be on cloud 9. The Bills are well coached, and like I
Yep.
don't know that they really regress or like have a coming down after a big win as much as other teams, but I don't know. Like that was a huge win on the road. I think they're going to come out a little bit sluggish. They can obviously catch fire and still win by a lot. I just think divisional game might come out a little sluggish. Like 14 can be a ton. So I do like the Patriots for 1 star.
I mean, they have scored 40 plus points 2 weeks in a row, although one of those was a loss.
Yeah.
That's just NFL's weird, man. Yeah,
Can you trust the Bills in the playoffs giving up that many points every week? Like,
no.
so you either think, okay, who cares? They can score with anyone. They're just going to win because they score more points. Or if a team finally like clamps down on them, is their defense going to be able to hold a team under 25? Like, I don't know.
I don't know what I like them. I think I like them to get out of the AFC. Maybe I don't know if they can win a Super Bowl like that. Wouldn't it be cool if they would play the Eagles at some point this season? They don't. Maybe in the Super Bowl, but I don't see them winning a Super Bowl like that. No.
Yeah, and I don't know. Like, we've seen this play out before where the
Yeah.
Bills beat the Chiefs in the regular season and then they run it up in the
Yeah,
playoffs and they
lose.
just can't.
Yep.
Like, it's close, but they just can't get over the
Can't do
hump. I feel like this could be another one of those for them.
Sure.
But I mean, we don't know who's going to play who in the first round or who's going to run into who at this point. So we can discuss that in 3 weeks. But I do like the Patriots for 1 star here. I think they can keep the divisional game close.
I mean, I like the Bills to win. I think they can cover this. The Patriots are not. I don't feel like they're the team to stop them scoring 40.
Yeah.
And I don't think the Patriots can score 40. So
All right. There you go. So
Yeah.
your prediction is 40 to 24.
it's not right.
Bills.
They'll still cover.
All right. Let's go on. Oh, this is the game of the week. Jags and the
Oh,
Raiders.
wow.
Ooh, the stink bowl.
It
They're going to
is.
tie so that they can keep their draft position, I think.
Tch.
So I said Raiders at home by 1.
Raiders given 2.5. That's probably too high too.
The Jags are favored, I'm pretty sure.
Are they really?
A little wild, but
Oh, I mean, the Raiders are
Ooh,
pretty bad. No,
they were.
oh, but it's Raiders.
That must be Aiden O'Connell must be
Yeah,
back. No, I
must
don't know.
be. I don't know, but you nailed it almost.
So Jacksonville
About 1.5.
opened -1,
Yeah.
and it's Raiders -1. So I wonder when that moved. It's Raiders -1. I got it. Like I said, I think O'Connell's worth 2 points over
Yeah.
Ritter. I have to assume
He's
maybe
quite
that's what's
bad.
going on.
Yeah,
Yuck. This is
Agreed.
bad. These two teams are like roughly equal. The fact that it's less than 3 for the Raiders at home makes me feel like I trust the Jags a little bit. Man, why do I always pick these bad teams? I'm gonna go. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna stay away.
Stay away.
If O'Connell's playing, I feel like he's a little bit more serviceable, and this is just a coin flip. If it was Ritter, I think I probably would have maybe taken the Jags.
Yeah, I don't. I don't have anything to say about this game. It's not a game I want to watch. This is a give up game.
Man,
This is a baseball team that's got 70 wins in August. So this is
yeah, or 65. Okay,
Yeah.
we don't have another good game. The rest of the
no.
so the next
Tinky
one is
tinky.
two teams who are on life support for the playoffs. You got the 49ers at the Dolphins. I said Dolphins by 2.5.
I got the Dolphins giving 3.5. Why did I? Oh man, I'm looking ahead and this is just dumb all over.
All right. So this game is sort of interesting in a way.
Yeah.
So it opened at Dolphins 2.5, and it is all over the place. Some places have the Niners favored. I don't even know what to do with this. I think Pick'em is like
Yeah,
is what we have to say here.
yeah, because it's all over.
So Pick'em,
You're closer.
I get that one.
Yeah.
I think people have strong opinion. I'll tell you why I think people have strong opinions either way on this. Why we're seeing this all over the place. So I believe there's a chance the Niners could be mathematically eliminated by kickoff.
Yeah.
If the Rams and Seahawks both win, I want to say they're out.
Yeah, they only have 6 wins.
And then the Dolphins. So I looked this up. The Niners need like 8 things to happen, and the 8th thing is the Rams and Seahawks tie week. I think it's the last week. The Dolphins have a 7% chance, they're saying, of making the playoffs. So they basically need a lot of things. They probably need like 4 or 5 things to happen plus win out. So, like the people who like the Dolphins here probably think San Francisco might be mathematically eliminated. It might rest some guys, just say like, screw it. The people who like the Niners, I don't know, maybe think they're just a little bit better team and they're going to play hard no matter what. This is a weird one for me. Like I want
really
like the
weird one.
Niners, but not knowing how hard they're going to be playing because they might not have anything to play for. I don't know. Stay away.
I agree. I mean, both of these teams. This seemed like a great matchup when we were looking at the start of the season, and now it's not. Both are 6-8. Both teams aren't going to make the playoffs. I just, who cares?
Right. So let's go on. We got 2 left.
Yep.
We got the Bucks at the Cowboys.
Oh, what the fuck I was thinking here?
I said Bucks by
The
5.
Cowboys -3, and it is Bucks -4.
Yeah, Bucks opened at 4 and it's mostly 4.
Yeah.
So I get that one. All right. I don't know. The Cowboys can be frisky on a given week, even though they're pretty bad. And the Bucks can blow teams out, but they can also like beat the Panthers in overtime
Yeah.
at home like a few weeks ago. So this is very fair. Like the Buccaneers are more than a field goal better than the Cowboys.
On the road.
And it's which of those do you like? Do you think the Cowboys are frisky and keep it close?
Yeah.
Or do you think the Bucks
I'll take the Cowboys for 2.
do one of those 40-point
No, I don't know.
against the best scoring defense? I don't know. Like who knows? No one really knows because there's no consistency there.
There
So,
isn't. I'll take the Cowboys here. It just feels like a game the Bucks
for how many?
2. This just feels like a funky Bucks game where maybe they win, but they don't win by as much as their talent should dictate. They have won 4 in a row. I'm still
Yeah.
gonna take the Cowboys.
Yeah, this is
It's a
I don't know.
mistake.
The Cowboys can play spoiler. Like if
Little
if
bit.
the Falcons can win at home against the Giants and the Bucks
Yeah.
lose,
No doubt.
remember the Falcons have the tiebreaker, so that could. I mean, the Falcons aren't playing very well, but like if they keep winning, they definitely could still take that
Yeah.
division.
I mean,
Um,
they took 2 from the Bucks this year. That is,
What are the
criminal.
Are the Bucks 9-6,
they're 8-6, I believe.
8-6, and
Yeah.
the Falcons are
7 and 7.
7-7?
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, things could get interesting. The Cowboys
Yep.
trying to play spoiler. I don't have an opinion on that one. All right. I
Last
did
game.
hear that people think the McCarthy is the most stable part of the Cowboys franchise at this point because you got Jerry Jones who does too much to control
Yeah.
which players are on the team, and then you've got like Dak getting hurt and kind of sucking, and then like
Underperforming. Yeah.
Parsons doing his podcast and being hurt, and it's like McCarthy still has the locker room, and it's just kind of sad to say that.
Yeah, that is really weird. I mean, I don't think there's any way Dak ever lives up to that contract. There's no way. His
Yeah.
production, there's no way.
I agree. I never thought he would in the first.
No, me neither. It just and no,
Yeah.
I don't. Not much. I don't. Nothing else to say on that. No.
Why are these games so bad? I mean, I guess I get it. The Niners and Dolphins were supposed to be good.
Yeah.
The Bucks and Cowboys were supposed to be good.
Yeah.
The Saints, I don't think were supposed to be good. But so anyway, the Saints play the Packers at Lambeau. I said Packers by 9.5.
The Packers giving 6.5. You're probably gonna get this one too.
It's ridiculously high.
Is that?
It's
I'm
like
so.
13 or something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm sure. 14.
Open at 13.5. It's a 14 burger.
Oh.
14. I'm guessing Carr is definitely shut down for the year.
Yeah.
So this is either Rattler or Hayner. Probably Rattler. I mean, I guess the Packers beat bad teams.
Yep.
Like 14. Like that's
know,
a
the
lot. I mean,
Packers are a team on the come, dude. They are.
Yeah, their 4 losses are to the four of the double-digit win teams.
Yeah, twice to the Lions, once to the Vikings, and once to the Eagles.
Yeah.
So I mean, they've only lost to the best the NFC has to offer.
Yeah, so I know a lot of people like the Lions and Eagles in the NFC, but like no one's gonna want to play the Rams and no one's gonna want to play the Packers.
Nope.
And I don't know, like I wish I could say no one's gonna want to play the Vikings because they're just kind of no one's talking about the Vikings even though they have 12 wins. But I don't know, like you expect Stafford and Love to be more clutch than Darnold, I guess in the playoffs maybe because they've been there before. Maybe that's a lot of it. But I don't know, like the NFC playoffs could be very interesting.
They could.
I mean, there's lots of reasons to like any one of the teams that are going to make it from the NFC.
Yeah, I agree with that. Although I will say about the Packers, their best victory was the victory against the Seahawks last week. Otherwise, they beat the Colts, the Titans, the Rams early in the season, the Cardinals, the Texans, which I guess maybe that might be their best victory, but it was close. The Jaguars, they beat the Bears, the Niners, the Dolphins, and then the Seahawks on the road. I don't know. It's just not a murderer's row of victories. And the Texans game was close at home. And the Texans, I think we think are a middling team at this point, not a great team. So, I mean, I still like the Packers in this game, but
I think the Packers are lining up for the 6th seed.
That's right, behind
which would play the 3, and the 3 would be
the Bucks. Bucks
The Bucks are the 3.
Yeah, right now, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, be
I like the
interesting.
Packers in that game.
Yeah, I mean, I think if that happens, I think you're probably looking at a pick. Maybe the Buccaneers are favored by a point at home or something like
Yeah,
that.
they'd be at home. Yeah.
Stuff's gonna change. We'll see. I'm sure it'll be the Falcons somehow. Something stupid happens. Penix MVP. No, that's enough. All right. Okay, that's it. 16 games, a lot of games.
Woo.
Christmas. We got Thursday. We got 2 on Saturday. We got
Heck yeah.
Sunday, and still I'm assuming Saints Packers is Monday. So
Mhm.
all sorts of stuff. We got
Crazy.
we got college heating up. They're gonna start playing playoff games tomorrow. I think Notre Dame plays Indiana.
Yeah.
Good time of year.
Woohoo.
Let's go back through the picks really quick. I have the Chargers -2.5 for 1 star. Josh has the Steelers +6.5 for 1 star. I have the Giants +8.5 for 2 stars. Josh has the Lions -6.5 for 2. I have the Panthers +4.5 for 1. I have the Titans, my 3 banger, the terrible Titans, +3.5 because no one will have it.
Nope.
3 stars. I have the Patriots +14 for 1, and Josh has the Cowboys +4 at home against the Baker Mayfields. That's all we got for this week. Maybe the Bears can upset the Lions to help my Vikings.
Well, yeah, I will do that. You know what? I will say this. I don't have a 3-star pick. Give me the Dolphins for 3 stars.
Whoa. In the game where no one knows who's going to be playing for what?
Yep. Why not just put all the money on something you can't predict?
3 stars.
Finn.
The Finns.
Yeah, let's do that. Why not? Fuck it.
Okay. There you go.
All right.
Go Vikings!
Go Bears.
And now to find Studio B.
The exit button.
Bye.